Tesla has hit quite a milestone. It is now included in the S&P 500 index, and I don't have to tell y'all how impressive the stock's performance has been this year, with the stock up 728% and still soaring. So it has earned the gold medal of TheStreet Stock of the Year. Joining me on this very special occasion is Rob Maurer, host of Tesla Daily, and Jim Cramer. Jim, you and I have spoken extensively about Tesla, and you've gone from being a skeptic to a believer. So is the stock more powered by the investors themselves rather than the company's innovation?
I think that people want a piece of the company's innovation. They don't know where it's going to go. I think that Elon Musk is someone who gives you a chance to participate in his genius. It is obvious that he makes the most superior cars, or else he'd have to advertise. It's obvious that he's got tremendous ideas in solar that aren't talked about. But I think he's a technologist in an industry where technology has been stillborn. He continues to innovate, and that's why I just think the world of him and think the world of the stock. And I'm not backing away just because it's supposed to go down after it's added to the S&P. I don't think it'll do that. It's a technology stock that's worth $600 billion, and that's a reasonable valuation for a great technology company.
Rob, I'm not going to lie here. I remember scoffing when I saw ARK Invest's 2024 price target of $7,000, and yet this stock is proving to be unstoppable. So looking simply into 2021, where can you see the stock going, and are there any catalysts on the horizon?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you think about pre-split, we're now at $3,500 per share, so that $7,000 price target's not looking so crazy anymore, is it? But yeah, I think as we head into 2021, obviously the fair question for Tesla is this company overvalued? I mean, as Jim said, $600+ billion market cap. Tesla's trailing 12 months revenue is about $28 billion. So, they're trading at 21, 22 times sales, which is obviously quite high. But when you look at Tesla, it's really a growth story. It's always been a growth story. And what Tesla has been able to accomplish has been, I would say almost unprecedented. If you look at compared to, when Amazon was sort of in this stage of their growth, going from sort of $1 billion up to around $25 billion or so, it took Amazon 10 years to do that. Tesla's actually done that in 6. So they've grown at a 52% compound annual growth rate versus Amazon at this stage was growing at about 30%. So there's a reason that the market is paying that premium to Tesla. And if you think about, as Jim said, what Elon Musk is doing here, Tesla is positioning themselves to address, probably the largest total addressable market that we've ever seen a business go after. We've got the automotive market, the energy market. We've got, as Tesla starts to develop their autonomous driving package and continue to roll that out, we've got obviously companies like Uber that Tesla would be in that market as well. We think about things like logistics once the Tesla Semi comes on board, which to your question about things for 2021, that's something for us to look forward to. So there's just so much to like here and so much going on that the market is, they're willing to pay that premium. And especially as Tesla has flipped to sort of a profitability story this year and really shown that operating leverage as they've scaled up and proven their viability to be a sustainable business.
So Jim, Rob correctly points out there that Tesla is a growth stock. What would it take to stop saying that it's a growth stock?
Well, I mean, look, I think that a lot of this is execution. When I listened to Rob talk about the total addressable market, I mean, it's rather remarkable how big it really is. And my bet is that Elon is thinking about what can be done in 2021 that others are thinking about 2026. I mean, he has shown a tremendous ability to be able to anticipate what people want. I think that as long as he delivers on his vision, it's a growth stock. When he stops innovating, or when he leaves, if he ever leaves, it's not going to be a growth stock. I think you have faith in him that he's not trying to create a value play. He's trying to create an innovation play, and innovation leads to a higher stock price no matter what.
Rob, we got the news that Tesla plans to open a plant here in Texas, in Austin, Texas specifically. I mean, how big is this for Texas in general as we see the Californians take flight?
Yeah, it's huge, and that's kind of an underlying story, I would say, of 2020. We've seen Tesla, Tesla hasn't moved to full operations out there quite yet, but Elon Musk has decided to move to Texas from California. A lot of other companies, I think Oracle just announced that they're sort of moving their headquarters too. So, we're seeing a little bit of a migration out of California into sort of that Austin area. And yeah, Tesla's no different. They're setting up a factory there to start producing vehicles sometime in 2021, even though they just broke ground in August of this year. So their pace of expansion and execution has been really taken sort of that next step over the last 12 months. And we've really seen that with Gigafactory Shanghai. They broke ground on that January of 2019. Already by January 2020, 12 months later, they rolled out the first vehicles. And now, we have reports that in October they produced over 20,000 vehicles. So, 250,000 vehicle run rate. Going from groundbreaking to that in 2 years is pretty unprecedented. So, investors are really looking for them to replicate that in Texas. Tesla's got a ton of land there. They hope to, the reports are that they hope to eventually scale that up to about 2 million vehicles per year, which is just insane output. The largest factories today for automotive are really around that 800, 900,000 per year level. So Tesla's got that going on in Texas. And then same thing in Berlin. They also broke ground on a Gigafactory in Berlin back in May, and sort of similar timeline. So yeah, back to even the earlier question about 2021, there's a lot to be excited about there.
So Jim, if I had to ask you for your biggest takeaway from Tesla this year, what would it be?
Well, I think it would be Tesla the stock or Tesla the company.
You choose.
I would say that I'd say what it is breathtaking ability to do things that other companies can't do. When you listen to what Rob's talking about, you're not supposed to be able to create a factory in this short time. You're not supposed to be able to produce things. The man makes what we think are outrageous claims, but what they really are a well-defined system that requires, yes, a lot of grit. I'm sure if you worked at Tesla, it may be overwhelming to work there, but these are remarkable. I mean, you go to Berlin, you go to the heart of automobiles, and you put up a plant, and I think it's going to produce the most unbelievable cars. And you say to yourself, how does he do it? I mean, geez, a lot of these regular companies, I mean, maybe they'd pick some sort of Elon had to initially, he used the shell of of another factory, but you're not supposed to be able to make things this fast. And that's the real takeaway for me is he surprises you in how great he is as a manufacturer. And in that sense, he is every bit like Henry Ford. He just makes cars, drives the price down, superior auto, and then puts it globally. I mean, this is just inconceivable that this person can do this.
And Rob, what about you? What's your biggest takeaway? And also, because you so specifically focus on Tesla, I want to ask if anything has surprised you this year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the stock price. We've seen it jump 18 times since last June, the lows. It was sitting there at $180 pre-split, so like $35, and now it's at 650.
18 times.
Probably even higher now at this point.
But since the low.
Okay, so that's been crazy. I would say the other thing that surprised me, Catherine, is just the amount of the great execution that we've seen from Tesla this year. So as I mentioned, Gigafactory Shanghai, the build out there has been really incredible. Tesla received a lot of flack, and some of it brought on themselves around the Model 3 ramp up. Obviously, they put some really aggressive targets out there, and they failed to meet some of those in terms of timeline, and production rates. So I think investors were, pretty soured on sort of the communication from Tesla and the targets that they put out there. I think Tesla really learned from that, and they've started to be a little bit more conservative in how they're talking to investors and how they're talking to the street. And I think we've seen investors, regain confidence in Tesla because of that. Because now investors can say, okay, like Tesla has switched over to being a little bit more conservative. When they tell us a number, we can be confident that, that's sort of the low benchmark, and we can build our our discounted cash flows or whatever else, our analysis off of that. So I think that's been huge for the stock. And then just the total execution, Gigafactory Shanghai, how successful that's been compared to the Model 3 ramp up from Fremont initially. And then I would say Tesla's really executing on their operating leverage and their gross margins. In Q3, we saw them post an all-time high operating margin of over 9%, which is really strong for the automotive business. And that's really impressive for the scale that Tesla is at right now. When we compare the market caps, Tesla's obviously the largest in the automotive business, but they're still a relatively small manufacturer. They hope to hit 500,000 vehicles this year. So to be able to sort of generate this leverage at this point in their in their growth and in their scale is really impressive to me. And I think we're just going to continue to see that. And as Tesla expands globally in terms of their production, they're really, as Jim said, going to continue to focus on just lowering those prices, expanding their addressable market, and getting the best product out there and just taking share as fast and as aggressively as they possibly can.
I'm writing these
Well,
down.
I certainly look forward to seeing what Tesla has to show us in 2021. Jim Cramer, Rob Maurer, thank you so much for joining us. And you can read more about our stocks of the years over on TheStreet.com.
Thank you.